When you're painting, you're bound to make mistakes, and it's no problem because the fixes are super easy. And what we want to do is just simply move over here into our toolbar, and we want to choose this tool, which is the eraser tool. You can also see that here, again, the shortcut is E. So that comes in really handy. You switch to the tool, and then you simply drag over just like a brush. As a matter of fact, you modify it exactly the way you do a brush. You can see we have the same tools here to change the size and the hardness of the brush. And so I'm going to erase my little mistake that I made. And then I just hit B on my keyboard to switch back to the brush. You see how smooth it is when you start using the keyboard shortcuts? And then I make a little mistake and I go, oh, no problem, just tap E. And I actually have my fingers resting on the E and the B right now. I've got my ring finger on the E and my index finger on the B. And that way I can just kind of swap back and forth really quick. And so I want to simply use these tools in conjunction. I want to make sure that I am really comfortable swapping between tools because often in Photoshop you need to. So don't feel like, oh, I've got to finish working with this tool and then I'll switch to something else. Just go ahead and do the whole trick. You'll also notice that I painted right through the dress because the dress is sort of see-through. And also I know that a little bit later I can come back in and erase this. So I'd rather overpaint just a little bit because once we get the color set and everything, it's sort of difficult to match the color and repaint again once we switch to a different color. Because obviously, as I paint my person and my image, once I switch colors and I move to, starting to do the dress where I've got greens and reds, how am I going to pick this exact shade of this color again? And I will show you a short trick about that because it is an important trick to know. And as I show you the tool for that trick, you'll see that there are other uses for it. But in this particular type of task, see I need the eraser, so just come back in with the eraser again really quick. And I think also my eraser, I want to make it, the brush is way too soft. I'm going to just sharpen it up some. So I got the hands, I've got the body, and now I just want to make sure, don't forget the feet down here. It's easy to forget because you're so focused on the top of the body. And I'm going to show you the shortcut, the little trick to figure out how to get the color back again if you make a mistake and you need to grab it one more time. And I just usually with the legs, I sort of go up into here a little bit, and I'm going to just fade this out with a big fat eraser. I'm going to show you that trick in a second too. All kinds of tricks in this video. This is a video full of tricks, a veritable cornucopia of Photoshop trickery. I zoom out, and it's looking pretty good. Pretty good. I know this hand looks a little goofy, but we'll take care of that in a second. So the last thing I want to talk about is how do we make this leg blend sort of believably? And this is a really neat trick, and this comes in handy. There's a few different ways to do this, but I'm going to show you sort of the quickest way, and it's sometimes the most precise as well. So what we want to do is we're going to grab our eraser, and what we want to do now is we want to just make the brush really huge. So I'm going to bring it up to like 300 or something. But I want the hardness all the way down. And what that's going to do is, I need it even bigger than this. So I need a really, really big brush. So what I want to do is just create this really big brush. And remember that because the hardness is so low, it's at 0, it's going to fade away. So as I go over the tip of the legs here, you see how it just sort of fades away? That's exactly what I want. I want that skin tone to sort of, like as the material is getting thicker or whatever, I want it to just kind of fade out a little bit. I'm going to undo that, and I want to do not so much because I do notice also this kind of natural break right here. Let me zoom in. You see this where it gets thicker here? It's almost like it should be one tone here and then sort of a different tone where you can see more material is here and then a total kind of break here. So I'm trying to just sort of fake it. It doesn't have to be perfect because I'm going to fill all this in with color, which is going to hide and muddle all of this detail. But that's a pretty good place to start, and we're looking pretty good. I think now our ballerina is looking fairly believable with a fairly decent skin tone. So let's move to the next video and talk about tweaking up and adding our colors.